This is Going Beyond Spaces with Gala, and welcome to episode 3 of my personal holistic transformation at home with my wife, Martha. Martha, thank you for coming on to my podcast.
No problem.
All right, so we're going to kick it off with something that I ask all my guests, and that is, what do you love about our home?
What I love is that it's peaceful and it's grounding, and we have nature coming from the outside in.
Okay. And what do you dislike?
What I dislike is the way that our home is laid out based on what we need. So I think having a toddler and needing to have some separate office space and needing some more privacy elements and spaces, that it would be better if the layout was a little bit different. So it's very open floor plan, which I think is great, but I also think we could use some more separation.
Fair. And since you are my special guest, aka wife, I'm going to give you another icebreaker question, which I think is interesting for audiences. What is the best part of being married to an interior designer?
I think for me, being married to you, it's nice to have a lens of just walking into a room and knowing instantly how to maximize a space, or how a space can be designed in a way that makes more things possible.
Okay. And what is the worst part about being married to an interior designer?
I think that we have a toddler, and it's very difficult to have a perfect house and have a toddler. And so sometimes the worst thing is that your lens is on hyper overdrive with the way that ideally the house would look. And for me, it would be the same. You know, we would have...
Thank you for that.
It would be a lot cleaner and it would be a lot more organized. Mm-hmm. But with a toddler, it's not realistic. So it's just striking that balance between how do you balance the two?
Strive for the best, but then it also needs to work every day without going crazy.
It does.
Yeah.
Without going crazy being the optimal thing.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a bit about what you think we did right when designing our home from a holistic perspective. So one holistic win in our home, what would you say that is?
Definitely bringing nature in. And the double win is that we set it up with really neutral colors. And so it has a very calming vibe inside. And I think that's really helpful. It was helpful when we moved in and it was COVID and we had to be home together and it was a really stressful time outside in the world. We could find calm inside. And the second piece is that since having a toddler, I think we are easily able to create a sense of calm because it naturally exists in our house. So we don't have to do anything to create a calm environment.
So that idea of sanctuary that I talk about, basically, it's a chaotic world, stressful world outside. Find some sanctuary in your home and create that in some sort of a space.
Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And making sure that nature is kind of the star and not having the furniture and decor compete with the views and nature. Because,
100%.
What's better than that? Yeah. And okay, so then let's talk about where we went wrong, where you think that we might have gone wrong.
I don't know that it's where we went wrong so much as needing to evolve the space as we evolve our family. Mm-hmm. So we chose a space that we really thought was best for us with where we were in our lives. And I think it was the right choice. And I think design-wise, we set it up in a way that has really served us well, even for just, having a toddler, probably for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's almost 2, I think it's becoming more challenging. His needs are different. The way we need to set up his spaces in the house are different. Us being able to really go away without hearing the other person,
because it's an open floor plan.
Because it's an open floor plan is also challenging. Yeah. So there's just more energy in the open floor plan. And there's therefore then I think more of a need to have some downtime individually and be able to do that without feeling like you can hear the other person through the wall. And I also think there is opportunity in the next home to bring in, or in this home, to transform this sort of neutral calm in some rooms to have a little bit more life and character. And maybe that's in offices where it's really just freedom to use more color and to use fun rugs and to have just more dynamic decor versus just all neutral all the time. Because that's good in certain spaces in the home, but I think in other spaces, like especially if you're in the mode of creativity, it's important to have more color and more things that are going to inspire that creativity.
Yeah, I would agree. Like pre-COVID, you and I were both going to our offices 5 days a week. So when we came home, we really wanted to come back to this place of sanctuary. And now that we're both working from home, there's like no change in that energy because you're home all day. So your home becomes everything. So I agree. It'd be nice to have maybe punchier rooms or brighter rooms where the energy is more up. We say in feng shui, more yang than yin, because to create and work from home, you need to have that like productive energy and inspiration, creativity, all of that doesn't necessarily lend itself to a sanctuary tonal vibe. So I would agree with you there for sure. Yeah.
All right. That's like the second thing you've agreed with me on. So I'm feeling really good about this.
And in terms of what we want to do differently in our next home, like what we've learned from like a holistic well-being perspective, I'd love to hear what you are thinking. So we talked about if we're still working from home, making sure we bring more color, more vibrancy in so that the energy's up in the home. Is there anything else that you can think of from like a holistic design perspective that we want to do differently?
In a next home, having more, and this is maybe where you and I differ. Like I grew up having a bit more space. So
yeah.
And I'm a very deep introvert by nature. So for me, having all of us most of the time all together in the same room can feel like a lot. And having, I think, a bit of a different design or layout in a home where if we need time alone, we really can go and have that. And there is separation and there's enough insulation that it still doesn't feel like you're in the same room.
Yeah. That's like designing for neurodiversity, basically. Your need for more maybe quiet and privacy. And I'm more of an extrovert, so I'm fine with like all the activity happening in one room is valid. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I think this popularity of the open floor plan has really like brought that to light. And it's really fucked with a lot of people, especially I'm thinking of office spaces as well.
But office spaces is interesting because before COVID, I was in an open office space and I had a very similar experience where what was really great about the office I worked in was that they did have these quiet rooms where you could go and just like if you needed to just be quiet and get work done without being sort of central where all of the other cues were, then you could do that. I thought that was really smart thinking from a design perspective.
I think based on our floor plan, like we do have the primary bedroom off of the living room. It's like shares a wall with it. If there was some sort of a hallway that you went down and then it was our bedroom, that would probably be enough to create a space to retreat to where you're not hearing everything that's going on, you know?
Yes. And having guests over. And if the guest is upstairs and one of us is sleeping in, there's, you know, once we open the bedroom door, it's like, if you're not prepared,
you're right
to
in
say
the middle
good
of
morning,
everything.
and, you know, if you need a little time like I do, it just makes it more challenging. Yeah. So to your point, if there was a hallway or there's even the bathroom inside the bedroom, which is also helpful. So at least you can wake up, you can brush your teeth, you can wash your face, you can just put on like some clothes to then be able to go out and at least just sort of slowly transition into that living space.
Yeah. For me, if I touched upon like some of the Beyond Spaces tenets, I would say we're good with light, we're good with sanctuary, we're good with less is more in the sense that we're using every single space in our home. Air quality downstairs can be challenging because we have that partially submerged, half in the ground, half up space, like where my office is, which could lead to moisture. So we have to like ventilate a lot. I think in our next home, if it's all one floor, I'd love for all of it to be above ground so we don't have to worry about moisture and humidity levels as much as, well, not that we do, but I worry about that, as you know. And then,
but it does contribute to like termites and to things that then like growing there or coming in through warm or moist wood. Yeah. That would otherwise come in. So it does sort of set you up for different problems if it is underground partially.
Yeah. And then the color factor, like bringing more color in. I also think we could do better with healthy materials. My whole thing is like, look, it's overwhelming to have a whole home with healthy materials, as ridiculous as that sounds. I do think we could do better in the bedrooms where we spend the most amount of time in. So I think of our upholstered headboard that's emitting a lot of VOCs because of what it's made of. But then it's also, for us, we both have allergies. A fabric headboard collects more dust versus if we had gone with like something made out of wood, we wouldn't have that issue. And in natural wood, it wouldn't be emitting off any off gases. So going forward, maybe no wallpaper, or if so, that it's like a natural grass cloth material and we can find some way to adhere it that's different than an adhesive that lets out toxins. So I think there's room for opportunity with healthy materials in the bedrooms. In terms of sustainability, I mean, we did recycle and reuse a lot of furniture that we had from our previous place, which is half of the conversation of sustainability. I think if we purchase new furniture, just taking that into consideration could be really good for us. And then this is small, but this is really about the positioning of things and layout of things. What's really interesting is, and this sounds like the dumbest thing, but it's something. The fact that you have to go down steps to get to the outdoor patio off of the kitchen door. If that outdoor patio was on the same level as the kitchen and you could access it probably through sliding doors where you're seeing that space on a daily basis, my thought is that we would probably spend more time eating outdoors. It's like those steps downstairs to bring the food down and come back up. It's like a barrier to doing that. And I think that's just like a small design tweak that if you can have that outdoor living space on the same level and easily accessible and visible, it's going to invite you outside more. And I don't think a lot of people think of that. It's like such a small thing, you know?
I agree. And I think that's true for so many things in life, at least for me. You know, I'm very big on efficiency, and it's the smallest change. And if it makes your life that much easier, you will use that space more often.
And I think of it, if you can set things up in a way that it helps you make the healthy choice easily, the better choice for you, that's definitely like a win. Biophilia, we rocked in this house, bringing nature in and having views of nature. And then energy too. I just want to talk about really quickly, going forward, I would continue to have a space clearing before we come in. And then I love like our little seasonal rituals that we do in spring and winter, where we go around and do the bells and shake up the energy and sage the house and say out into the air together what we want this home to encompass for the next 6 months. I always like feel so good after we do that. Do you feel the difference too, or no?
So I am less sensitive to feeling the difference. For me, it's like just a personal breakthrough in drawing so much attention to ourselves because we're banging pots so loudly. And I think that our neighbors think that someone's like being murdered.
So that's all you're worrying about while we're blessing the home?
That is like the one thing that I'm like, wow, I am very concerned about what the neighbors think right now as we're banging pots so loud. I'm laughing, but it's also, that is not the energy that I'm as attuned to as you are.
Yeah.
I'm attuned to human energy more so than I am the energy of a home in a space.
That makes sense.
So, you know, I say it laughing, but it's really because that's just highlighting the differences between somebody who's doing and specializing in what you do.
Yes.
So I don't know that I'm supposed to feel that. Yeah. I think that's one of your gifts that you can, but I definitely appreciate and see the value in it.
Yeah.
You know, I do value the ritual.
Last question to wrap this up. What do you think people feel when they come into our homes? I feel like when friends come over, like they never want to leave.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Good. Yeah.
At ease.
And relaxed.
Relaxed. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I can live with that. Well, thank you for coming on. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered some good ground, and people have limited time. So, you know.
So peace out.
I think we're there. We could always do a little follow-up if we need to.
In our next home.
In our next home, where we'll be accountable to actually doing the things that we've just talked about.
Bam. Thank you for taking time out. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you when we move into our next home.